So we created an issue with our OSPF neighbor relationship with CR1 over that GE000 interface. In fact, over the other interface GE001 up to the second JR2 router as well. So trace options is interesting. That's one way to debug it. But maybe in the real world, this would trigger an alarm. Our ops folks would log in, and before they start randomly turning on trace options in different places, the first thing they're going to do is inspect the log files. So how can we do that? Well, let's have a look at what log files we have configured first. We show system syslog. You can see that we have a file messages with very wide logging. Any category of message of any severity being logged here. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look. Run show log messages. Whoa, we've got a very, very large amount of config going back quite a long way. You can see spamming it across the console there. So, that's not so nice. We expect, especially if we have any kind of Unix background, that there should be some way for us to filter this. Even Cisco has pipe include and pipe begin. And you can imagine Juniper offers a huge host of different ways for you to filter output. So if we run our show log messages command again and pipe, we can see that, well, if we pass the output of show log messages to something that sits on the right hand side of that pipe character, we can do various things. We can count the number of lines, we can save it to a file, we can match for different occurrences of text that we're interested in. So let's try that. Let's match OSPF. Alright, so now every line of output I have on screen relates to something with an OSPF neighbor coming up or down. And we can see for each one of these log file entries, we have the date and timestamp, we have the host name of the device, we have the system daemon that produced this and its process ID. So, RPD, decided to tell us about an OSPF neighbor going up here on, August 24th, which I think was, yesterday. Great, fascinating stuff, but it's not what we're looking for right now, is it? So maybe we can filter this down a bit more. Maybe we can say, okay, I'm looking for anything that would match OSPF. But after I've found lines that match OSPF, I'd like to pipe match again. I'm going to look specifically for this date. All right, cool. So now I have log file entries, that are all from today, August 25th. To monitor terminal, or sorry, terminal monitor, I should say, to force the Cisco to print on screen the contents of the file or a log file as some new output is added. We can of course do the same thing in Junos. If we run monitor start and then our file name, so let's do this for the messages file. Now, if some new output is appended to that log file messages, we're going to see that on screen immediately. So let's just run a command, show version or something. So it doesn't really matter which command we've run. I've just done that because I know that messages is currently logging interactive commands. So running any command would itself trigger a new log file event to be written to the messages file. And we see exactly that. I started the monitoring of that file. So in Cisco terminology, we did the terminal monitor. And then, after running the show version command, we see the UI command line read was added to the log file. If somebody ran run show version, or whatever else we're looking for. Again, Unix folks will probably recognize this as tail -f functionality. Junos over and over again just simply steals from the Unix world useful tools and gives them maybe in a more human readable format to us. So instead of tail -f some log file, we're doing monitor start messages. If I want to stop that, I can run monitor stop and name the file. So if I monitor stop messages, that will stop monitoring that file, or if I just monitor stop, it will stop monitoring of all files. It's because it's possible I'm monitoring more than one at a particular time. I can also temporarily suspend monitoring by hitting escape and Q at the same time. You can see there, if I hit escape and Q at the same time, it tells me I've temporarily disabled that. If I hit escape and Q again, then it's back to being enabled. You know, I can simply at some point decide to monitor stop. I mean, of course, just logging out this user would also stop that monitoring. It's only a setting relevant to the current user's session, the current user's CLI session, I should say.